Now for our roundtable with our News Channel 5 political analyst, Brian Crowley. And Brian, we appreciate you being with us as always. Happy Thanksgiving time to you and your family as you join us from North Carolina.
Indeed, blowing rocks. It's been down in the teens.
There you go. Good to be indoors. Brian, first, your take, the Omicron news. It's a reminder, as if we needed another one, that COVID in so many ways defines both our personal and our political landscapes as well. The discussions we have both at home, politically, socially. Your thoughts?
Well, one of my thoughts about this is, and there's still some uncertainty about exactly how serious this variant is. But have we boxed ourselves into a corner? I mean, if you pretend a worst case for a moment, and this variant went raging through Florida, and people were getting sick and seriously sick and dying in large numbers, we can't have vaccine mandates. We can't have mask mandates in the school. I mean, what do we do then if employers, in a worst case scenario, desperately needed to protect themselves, and the schools felt a desperate need to protect the children, and you have laws that say they can't? It's a little bit like shutting down the firehouse.
In that sense, if that came to pass, Governor DeSantis and those who back him in the Republican legislature have taken one big gamble.
Yeah, both sides have played politics with the COVID. So and it would be unfair to blame it all on one side. But, we somehow have let science get cast aside. And frankly, part of that is because of poor messaging that came out of the CDC and the FDA and conflicting statements. But, I think that we should have some concern. What do we do if we wind up in a worst case? And it's sort of like, if we had a Cat 5 hurricane, all bets are off, right? I mean, and I don't think we have that mindset right now. So I don't know what we would do if we had the equivalent of a Cat 5 hurricane in this COVID variant. It sounds like that's not going to happen. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm talking more philosophically about, because we don't know what's going to happen with the COVID a year from now, 2 years from now. And, we've kind of, like I said, shut down the fire department.
Governor DeSantis has argued, and millions of Floridians agree with him, it's about individual choice. As you said, there have been politics on all sides of this equation, and we'll have to leave that part of the discussion there for the moment. But you raise an interesting philosophical point, one we hope does not come to fruition, of course. Brian, let's talk to some other topics. Seminole Gaming Pact. Last year, federal judge put the skids on that, saying, listen, you can't do online gaming and say, well, we did it from servers on tribal land, but we're going to do it all over the state. That's really bending the law too far. Then you have others trying to get a constitutional amendment separate and apart from the Seminole Pact, which now is in limbo, would have meant billions of dollars for Florida. The governor and the Seminole tribe signing that months and months ago. Where are we? Gaming's always been contentious. That one's in limbo. You've got others trying for this amendment. Once again, gambling in the debate, center stage.
Well, and I think it was yesterday when the Seminole tribe had asked for a stay on this ruling that set aside the agreement. And I believe it was yesterday that the federal judge denied the stay. Apparently, the Seminole tribe is continuing the online gambling despite the ruling, so that should be interesting down the road. But as you noted, since the start of gambling in Florida, when they had illegal casinos in Palm Beach, in the 1920s and 30s, gambling has always been extremely controversial in this state. There's always been rivalries between the big theme parks like Disney World and Universal, who for many years opposed gambling because they want the people showing up to their places, not at the casinos. And it's been this ongoing battle for decades, but it always inches forward. That's the one consistency about the gambling. They're very persistent, and slowly but surely they inch forward. And Governor DeSantis sort of indicated yesterday he wasn't totally surprised by the decision of the courts, and he's prepared to move forward in any way possible because it's billions of dollars that could go to the state if this agreement were to be able to go forward.
Brian, you have 1 minute each. Let's look to 2022. You've got two big statewide races. Of course, the gubernatorial race, Governor DeSantis up for re-election and also potentially with an eye to the White House in 2024. Seems to be riding high right now against the Agriculture Commissioner, Nikki Fried, and former Governor Charlie Crist, both of them running as Democrats. Size that one up first.
Well, I mean, as of today, it appears that there's really nothing to stop Governor DeSantis. I think the two Democratic candidates, and there's a third who just entered the race, I think that they've had a hard time capturing the limelight, even among Democratic voters. And DeSantis has raised, tens and tens of millions of dollars. He's far outraised the Democrats. Democratic messaging is weak. I see little stopping Governor DeSantis right now.
Look to this U.S. Senate race, Val Demings and Marco Rubio.
Well, Rubio's always been a strong candidate. I think that, I sometimes wonder why the Democrats didn't encourage her to run for governor. She might have been a better candidate than some of those that are out there now. But I think if you have this big wave wrapped around DeSantis, I think Marco Rubio benefits from that. Now, this is all speculation at this point. The world can change enormously in the next, 10 months. But I think it's going to be an uphill battle for Val Demings as well. I mean, and keeping in mind that right now, the Biden administration's, the president's numbers are very, very low. Democrats are very disappointed in some of what's been going on with him. A lot of it has to do with the COVID. A lot of it has to do with the economy. And I think that if things don't improve pretty rapidly, it's going to be tough for Val Demings as well.
Brian Crowley, as always, thanks. We'll be back with your closing comment in just a moment. For the Crowley closer.
Well, tonight is the start of Hanukkah, and I wish everybody a happy Hanukkah. For those who celebrate, and then we're now rapidly getting into the Christmas season, and I hope between Hanukkah, Christmas, and the other holidays that are celebrated this time of year that people can find some kindness and happiness and maybe set aside our political vitriol, at least for a little while.
Brian, as always, thank you for your time. Look forward to getting you back here live. Thanks for joining us from the Tar Heel State.
Thank you.
Take care, Brian. As always, appreciate having Brian aboard, and most of all, appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. Again, hoping you and yours had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. You can always send us your comments to WPTV.com if you'd like to. Click on the To The Point page. You'll see a section to send us your views. As always, wishing you and yours a great day and a great week.